Team Rider or Team Kamen Rider here. Woo. This is the Zi-O hype stream. This is the day of the big event. Once again, I'm here with AJ, the movie writer, and here with a whole bunch of other people. And we'll start with you, Marcos. Go ahead and say hi to people.
Hi to the people. It's Marcosatsu here to hype up Zi-O. Yeah.
Oh, ooh, nice. And
me, I'm Ranger Liz. I've been here. Thank you so much for having me. I've been here. This is my 4th stream with you guys, and I don't want it to end, but I'm ready to talk about Zi-O.
Nice.
Hey, what's up, folks? I'm Dustin. I go by TheNextDecade. I'm super excited to talk about Zi-O because my boy Decade's in there. So let's go.
Hey guys, Hollywood Zach from Ranger Command back again. This is my 5th stream this week with these guys. Super excited to talk about Zi-O. And yeah, I agree with Dustin. Let's get some Decade love in here.
Yes. Hi everybody, I am Kamen Rider Heisei Generations Forever, the movie premiering on Nerdist's YouTube channel tonight at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern with the panel, and then right after is a message from a writer that you don't want to miss, and then the movie is at 8 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and you have to watch the whole way through because at the end you're going to learn in the chat how you can win said autographed driver from mysterious, unknown as of right now rider.
Yeah. So before we get into it, guys, just want to say thank you to everyone on the stream and everyone who's watching for just being here for this whole week. These events were awesome. This was definitely unlike anything we've done before, and it was really fun. Shout out to Jay for doing all the photography for all these images with all the SHFs. This guy stayed up late because he had to wait for his Deno Shinkocho to arrive so he could finish these shots. So definitely shout out to him. Really appreciate it. And like Tokunation, like Chris just said, make sure you tune in later today, 4 p.m. on the Nerdist channel to watch our panel, 5 p.m. to see the message and also the movie. So we got that going on. Don't forget, 2 more days of these sales.
It's true. Don't want to miss that out.
Do not miss out, man. Once stuff is gone, it's gone. And,
Yep.
And so talk about Zi-O, we do have the Zi-O driver special set. In Japan, this was a Toys R Us exclusive. So not many of these are still floating around. So definitely, if you're interested in Zi-O, pick up this, or we do have the Beyond driver available as well. And of course, t-shirts. T-shirts are available. They're arriving now. Liz's came in. The movie writers came in. So they are. And don't listen to the tracking, okay? All right. Tracking can say August, and then it can be at your house right then. So you never know.
Come on, dude. It fits good too. I got a ladies cut. So all you guys, I'm sure you probably all got the men's cut. So I can at least say, ladies out there, the ladies cut fits amazing. It really does. I've heard maybe go bigger. So I got a large. It's soft. It fits. It fits a woman figure. So thank you.
They're so soft. They're
for having women's size options on these shirts. It means a lot to us girl fans.
Yeah. Seriously though, they're soft shirts. Super soft.
And the most important thing is that they fit. That's the
If it's like a glove, it's great.
Awesome. And then some new things that we're doing. We're doing some retailer highlights. Not just for this weekend, but going out. We'll be talking to different Tokusatsu retailers so people know where to go get their stuff when events like this are over. So the first one is up right now. We did a interview with Uteki Sales. They're out of New York. They attend a lot of conventions, and they also do a lot of sales online. And then later today, we'll have one going up from Tokulectables. So these are very, very awesome partners who help to bring you guys stuff at reasonable prices and help to reach you wherever you happen to be. So I definitely want to give them props too, because like the fans, our retailers are also a big part of why we've been able to do what we've been able to do so far. So, all right. But with that out of the way, let's talk about it. The final rider for Heisei Week, Kamen Rider Zi-O. Now, for this one, it's weird because Zi-O was actually my second rider. And I didn't understand any of the anything going into it, anything prior. But I mean, for me, it was interesting because I used Zi-O as a way to shop for what other riders I wanted to go to next. because it's like the sampler platter for all of Heisei. And it's got some of my favorite riders and some of my favorite belts in it, and my favorite gimmick, the ride watches. AJ can attest, I have probably too many.
It's probably like half the size of his Daiza stand that he has currently behind him. Every time I see him, I'm like, did you add a new layer? He's like, yeah, I did. Man, what are you missing?
In the office, whenever people would come over and they would go, so I hear you're starting Kamen Rider toys now? Like, what are those? And I would go, let me show you to the Tower of Daiza at my desk. And then they would all the ride watches, and people would start playing with them and whatnot. And I was like, when I got Grand Zi-O, people would come over and go, what's this? They hit the button, and then it goes on forever.
Right.
And it's like in a quiet office, and I'm like, no, you stand there till it's done.
This is your fault.
It is.
Think about what you've done.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I love Zi-O. So let's go ahead and start with AJ. What are your thoughts about Zi-O?
A lot of people on the chat have all just been like, rejoice, Waga, like Waga Mao. Like, that's what everyone loves about the series. Like everyone loves like the catchphrases that come from it. And I think that's what's so great about like Zi-O is that so much stuff comes from. Like you have all those old like characters coming back, and then you've got these new characters that are just so lovable. I love Sogo and like Friends. And definitely like even the Red Watch game, like you said, is fantastic. Like if you don't even have like the Ziku driver itself, the Ride Watches alone, like you play with it like for hours. You're just like either spinning, clicking. It's perfect.
Nice. Marcos?
The whole build up to Zi-O, since it's an anniversary season, was so intense. And then once the show came out, there was still a lot of hype around it, because with so many returning characters that you grew to love after their seasons, after all these years, and you get to see them again interact with this new cast. And the new cast too hold up very well on their own. I think they're pretty good characters, and the journey they go through to meet these past characters and find out what they've been doing, how they are, like it's great to see all that. And I think Zi-O really encapsulated the fun of Kamen Rider, the enjoyment, and seeing like all these crossovers, these personalities, this great story. And I just think Zi-O's a lot of fun.
Nice.
For I guess like first talk of it, it's so much. I think it's fun. There's at the beginning, it's maybe a little easy to get a little lost in it, but once you get going in it, it's a really good story. As I said, like just the main rider's awesome, but like Gates, his journey and everything that he has to go through as well. I mean, you start off with a kid being like, I'm going to be a king one day, and he has no idea how. This journey that brings him, and no spoilers, but like his final henshin into Ohma when he's just about ready to expand. It's ingrained in my memory. It's one of my favorite henshins that Kamen Rider has ever done. That groundbreakingness of it. The visuals are really cool on it. The collectibles, it's really fun to play with and to see. I enjoyed it. It's always by the end, I'm just like, I really enjoyed it. And the 0.5 episodes that they did between episodes like 1 and 2. They did something really fun. And I'm sure you guys probably talk about it too, but they did some really, really fun and interesting stuff with the show that helps me appreciate it even more.
Yeah, I'm sure Dustin can point out with the magenta.
Zi-O as a whole is really special to me because when I first went to Japan, I was specifically going just so I could be there for Zi-O's first episode. Like, just made sure it lined up so it's like the day after I got there, I could sleep, and then the next morning, Kamen Rider's on. And watching that first episode live, like actually there, no subtitles, but still understanding stuff. Ooh, it set me up to be super excited for the show, and I wasn't let down the whole way through. Zi-O has this fantastic thing of hiding a bunch of stuff that you don't think is going to happen, and then it totally happens. And you're like, how'd you manage that? And so many moments of that, and a lot of my favorite Kamen Rider actors came back. Not every single one, but a good majority of them. So like, I was thoroughly pleased. And going to the Toys R Us that same morning and then kicking down the door and being like, belt please. Actually getting one in hand playing with it, spinning the belt around itself. Like the ZQ driver, I think is probably one of the coolest rider belts we've gotten in a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it spins, and I was so expecting to hit it, spin it, and make the pieces go flying, and I tried to. So that's a solid toy right there, and
Yeah.
I really, really enjoy it, and I can't wait to get more to Zi-O. So go ahead and say what you got to say next, man.
We need to get that belt. Hey, you can buy the belt at Bluefin. Don't forget, you can buy the belt.
Please do.
I really want to buy that belt.
Yeah, the belt is fantastic. I love the Ride Watch collectible gimmick.
Yeah.
Again, just a great. Like, these are so fun to just sit here and press and play, and like you can spin them around and do this and click it. And
Yeah, like
I
that
love
clicking
that-
noise.
yeah, the click noise is so satisfying, and I love how it shows
Yeah.
like the year of the rider. Like, I mean, come on, that's just cool.
Yeah.
The story is fun. I did love that they brought a bunch of the actors from the past series back in to do episode arcs here and there. The fact that we got. How do I say this without it being a spoiler? I know. The fact that we got this series to also be sort of a sequel series to a previous season.
Yeah.
That's how I say that.
Yes.
Is fantastic and definitely one of the series selling points for me.
Yeah.
And okay, I want to talk about. Can I talk about the final form without it being a spoiler? The final form is so over the top. I love it. It is the most over the top thing I've ever seen in Rider. It is. It's perfect. It's perfect in its
Right.
obnoxiousness.
That's why his belt is at the top of the tower of Dyson.
Yeah, speaking on what Liz said, that final henshin, where he's like, "Hey, Waz, come here.
Wozu, EY.
Say the thing," and Waz like, "Wait, what? Are you sure?"
What? Oh,
and he's like, "I said, do the thing now."
That one was amazing.
That is in here forever.
Like the ground cracking around him.
And
Like it.
all
The
of
budget was up
watches
there.
Just like,
Right.
oh.
All right. So Zi-O, man, like, it's a very fitting end to the Heisei era because it's a total love letter to the Heisei era with all the different returning actors coming back. And not, I don't want people to think like they're coming up and it's just a bunch of team ups the entire series because it's not. I remember one of my favorite writers came back and they're like a side background character for most part. They don't really do too much. I really, really liked the Another Rider forms. I felt like we got like in-show representation of the SIC Kamen Rider designs, or vice versa. Like they had come up with ideas and now they're gonna make toys of them. I was like, yes. And it's a lovable cast. Again, it's another, like I said, it's the ultimate way to end the Heisei era because you have the love letter to the previous, 19 seasons, 19 years, what have you, and you have a really solid Heisei, era show as well. It's a lot of fun, and the gimmick, it's like you sit there and go, ride watches, how cool can that be? But then, like Zach said, you get one in your hand, and so you're spinning and clicking away, and then you have them all, and you're broke and you don't know what happened.
And if it's not just that, like you can find your favorite rider and be like, I'm gonna get their ride watch, and you're like, all right, I got theirs, and you're like, oh, they come with the secondary riders too. Oh, I gotta get those too.
I had to limit myself doing that, man. I could not have afforded all the ones. I said, okay, I'm only gonna get the main rider forms, and that's it. I'm not going crazy with it.
Then they revealed their ultimate forms, and you're like, oh, okay, guess I gotta get these too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, like for me, obviously the best part of the entire show is Gaim's part. Obviously, he always steals the show wherever he happens to be.
It's his stage.
It is his
I
stage.
think my favorite part is like every time you see an anniversary character, like they always kind of show a little bit from that Rider series, and I think it's interesting. Like there's a couple episodes where you're just like, I think I remember that episode. So you're saying at like this early point of the example for Fords, when that happened, all right, like I see it happened early when this timeline shifted. I get it, and I think it's rewarding for people who've seen that series.
Yes.
Definitely.
The timeline shifts, the way that they can blend that in so well. That was one of my favorite things to watch. Just going back to like the shows you had already previously seen, and where the timeline kind of shifts to be like, how did they like? Oh, computers are awesome.
Yeah. I actually wanted to jump on the whole like time travel and dimension hopping that happens in Rider. It's actually one of my favorite types of time travel because it's just fun. It's not like, hey, let's not worry about the consequences of it. Plus, another thing too is I know a lot of people don't like it when they do like timeline chasings and stuff like that, but I say go for it because nothing ever happened to that previous story. So this means that you're getting a new story with that Rider. It just might be a little bit different than you expected. And what's wrong with getting more of your favorite Riders, you know?
Exactly. I also love that, like, not only did we get past Riders with alternate timelines, we got alternate future Riders.
Yeah.
And some of those future Riders have really cool design aesthetics that I'm just like, I want this to actually come up like as a series, you know?
That purple Kamen Rider, I really digging. Like, I wish they had finished that side story.
Kamen Rider Shinobi too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I bought that driver for sure. Now, so speaking of all the writers, out of all of the writers that have appeared in Zi-O, like but besides Guy, obviously, who would you say is is your favorite? We'll start with you, AJ.
Like in terms of like when they appeared in the show.
Any writer that showed up in Zi-O, which one was your favorite?
I really liked it, obviously, when like Den-O showed up, like with that little story arc. That was really fun because then you got to interact with not only the new cast that I really love, but then you got like Den-O's cast, and you're just like, oh, like they're working together. Like I love seeing these. I love seeing this, and like that plot, like where that arc led to. I was like, oh, that's great.
It might be too obvious since I love Hibiki, but I just love when the Hibiki characters return because it did show growth after all these years. Like that's a good example of what Zi-O does, and that they bring back characters and show how much they've grown after their season, after all they've done all these years. Todoroki returned. He's my favorite writer that returned from Hibiki, but they also brought back a supporting cast member with Kiria, who was also in Hibiki, and that really showed what Zi-O was gonna do. Like it's not just in Hibiki, but other writers too. Like in Gaim, when they brought back certain characters, it's just great to see them on screen again.
Yeah, it's great.
My favorite is also probably Den-O. Because I really love the Imagines. Momotoros is just... I really love Momotoros, guys. And to have the interaction between Uncle, who is always... You learned this in episode 1, but he's like, oh, he wants to fix clocks, but people are always bringing radios and stuff. And they're like, a time machine's like a clock, right? And he's like, yeah, I can fix this. So just having like Uncle with the Imagines, and there's some... I've made GIFs of a lot of them, so no spoilers, but when you get the Imagines with anyone, hilarity is gonna ensue. And that's probably my favorite of all of the comebacks.
Okay, so for me, I actually had a 3-way tie, but I'm just gonna go with my top favorite because like I gotta let other people talk about the others. But seeing Decade come back, always, because I've said it since the first movie where Decade came back through to now. Decade only gets better every single time you see him. So like the further along he goes, the more interesting and more fun Decade gets. And oh my gosh, Tsukasa was all over the place with this series, and also in the 0.5 too with it's magenta, all that. I really enjoyed having Decade back, and like Zach said, it's almost like having a finale for another writer season that should have been longer because it was good. They didn't give enough time. Okay, move along. I'll keep going.
Yeah. I mean,
we're hype. It's fine.
For me, it's probably going to be the Blade episodes. Blade was my first writer ever, and to kind of have those characters come back and see them, kind of still in their struggle is like, man, that's really cool to just get that hit of nostalgia. Is because like I said, Blade was my first writer, and I had no idea what writer was until somebody was like, oh, you've never seen Kamen Rider? Here's Blade. It's a really cool series. And I watched it, and I said, this is cool. What is this? I want more, please. More, give. So yeah, Blade started my whole Kamen Rider like journey, and so to have them come back and do a bit on the show was fantastic.
I have to agree with AJ and Liz. I think the Den-O stuff and the Imagines come back, and it was so fun and in so many ways lighthearted, and just kind of took a break, I guess, from the other stuff happening. And you laughed and you were excited for the episodes, and a lot of time I get distracted easily, but in in that case, I was actually glued watching. Like everything else kind of zoned out because you get so into it. Not to take away any of the other returning casts throughout the rest of the show, but for some whatever reason, and again, I think it speaks to the strength of the characters in Den-O, but then also the way they're written here in Zi-O, as to why that is. So that has to be my favorite.
Yeah, like I think the characters for Zi-O, I think they hold well. Like they can hold a serious tone, but they can be lighthearted as well. And I think that's fantastic acting on their part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, early on in the show, obviously, you get to see Ohma Zi-O do his thing, and like you said, Zach, he was pretty OP. I mean, he's always pretty OP, but like when I saw it, I'm like, this is Kamen Rider Thanos. Like this is like it's the end game right here. What did you guys think about Ohma Zi-O? Like in his entirety, what do you think about Ohma Zi-O?
I love his design. Like his design is fantastic. Like the fact that Zi-O himself, like the suit design is more of a regular watch, but like Ohma Zi-O is like the Rolex of watches. Like, like he's in gold. You have like he's all gold. You have like it's like a cape, but it's just the hands of time like behind him. I'm like, that's amazing. Like it's not really a cape, but I feel that it's like a cape. Like you see all the little ride watches on him, and they're not active; they're just part of his design. And I'm like, that's such a good design overall. Like in the black and gold and like accents of red. I know those are your favorite colors, so but definitely the design of him and his power too that he has. Like he's a great character.
Right.
I enjoyed seeing him like, and I don't know two spoilers, but him out of suit. Like when they get to interact with, I'm sure he's ambiguous. So like when they get to interact with Ohma Zi-O, and maybe you guys are remembering some of the scene too, like out in this empty field, basically. And it was kind of just the two of them, and it was really amazing how Sogo and his actor acting out this conflict of like looking at himself, and I did like Ohma Zi-O just because it kind of felt like it's the inevitable. And so what's the journey to not get there or get there with Sogo?
Nice.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, jump on. You got something else. Go for it.
Well, just to make really quick, in that Ohma Zi-O, I personally think he's the strongest rider in the entire franchise of Kamen Rider. He's so strong and powerful, and just seeing him stand there in that open field next to a statue, like just seeing his power like radiate from his ginormous body, and like and like his red helmet, and he's black and gold. Like it's such an empowering suit to see, just him standing. And then when Sogo confronts him a couple times, like Sogo's just a kid. Like how's he gonna become this demon king that can control time and defeat like main baddies with one punch? Like it's just crazy to see how great Ohma Zi-O is, and he might even be one of my favorite suits ever, just because, like you said, he's the Rolex of the
that's for like P Bandai if they want to make some watches out there. Buy.
Speaking of Premium Bandai, I think actually it's Ohma Zi-O. It's going to be up for pre-order, so if you guys want to try to get any of those, I do believe the figure art is going to be coming out of it soon. So
really,
give you guys a heads up, things to ask for.
I mean, I asked for everything.
I mean, you asked for the suit on the cosplay stream, so like, yeah, I think you like Ohma Zi-O. I mean, I like it too, though. Like, from the design standpoint, there's so many really tiny, fine details on that suit where it's just like, ooh, that's a good choice. I really like that. So, like, if you look really closely at the face, every single line on his face is actually just the kanji for O or king. So it's just got king all over his face, and I'm just like, This is rad. I'm here for it. Let's go. Also, I like the whole kind of almost looks like a dictator with the medals all over him with the ride watches, like and then the bandolier too. It's just like whoever designed this one had a field day, and I really appreciate this. I didn't have that much fun when making it. Also, just the not even just like the characters, just like the idea of the characters enough just to be like, oh man, that sounds super intimidating. Oh, how are you going to end up being that? Like, cause you look at Soga and you're just like, what happened to you? What bad day happened?
It just takes one bad day.
Yeah, I think like it's kind of like how like Kiva too, where it's like you had like you're seeing like the past and future, and you're like trying to pinpoint the exact middle. You're like, where did this day go wrong for you to do this? And I love that part about Zi-O.
Yeah, speaking to Dustin and Marcos' point of like it's like you're a kid, you're an 18-year-old high schooler. Yeah. This is a warlord of immense power who has years of experience. This is the first time I think in a long time where while I was watching the series, I actually experienced the dread of like, is he gonna beat Ohma Zi-O? Because like I don't think he's gonna beat him. Like this is like, he will die. And so like that sort of sense of dread, I think, is really cool to have in your villain. Because like don't get me wrong, like villains are imposing. You know, Ivolto in build, imposing. Other villains are Chronicle in
like
X8.
Chronicle, yeah.
They're super imposing, but it's like, but you know that the heroes are going to win. It's what heroes do. But like the way that they shot Ohma, and it's like, I don't know, man. We might be for, like they might actually end the Heisei era by ending the Heisei era. So he's super tough. It's super imposing. The suit is beautiful. Definitely one of my favorite villains in Rider.
Nice.
The thing I love about Ohma Zi-O, and it's a narrative, one of the narrative standpoints, is I always think it's a strong way to write. You can't do it all the time, but if you do it the right way.
Oh no!
Hey,
we'll never.
Okay. No, I was saying it's a strong narrative type to be like, hey, here's one possible ending, right? And it's the worst possible ending, and it's the ending that's already happened. So now you either have to correct course or this ending happens for Sogo. And so, and that's not a big spoiler. That's like episode 1. So there you go. But of course, as far as like the design of the actual character, of course I love it. I have a thing for black and gold, and you throw the king kanji all over the helmet, like Dustin was saying. Not to get too much about my own personal likes and dislikes, but come on, hello. Yeah, I'm on board for it.
It's sort of on brand.
Yeah,
for Chris.
You got something for characters with the king like plastered right on the front
king
of it.
on their face. I just have an affinity for it. So, yeah.
Nice. Now, okay.
I want to say this suit's really cool. Like I pulled it up, the blank ride watch. Actually, you think you were saying the blank ride watches? Like the way they're on him, he is like the warlord because he's kind of wearing them as like army medals, right? Like I defeated these, and so they're wearing them, and it was another thing that I picked up. Like he's super imposing, and you're like Sogo, who doesn't even want the power most of the time. You're like, you're gonna die.
Now, one of the things I looked forward to in every episode, especially when I knew he was going to get a new ride watch, was when Woes would come out and NEY. What are you guys' thoughts on Woes as a character?
I think Woes has been like a very interesting part of Zi-O because he's the character that knows what happens. That book he has is like what makes him a interesting character. Like he knows what's happening, and even like before the episode start, every episode he kind of like spoils for us the episode. I'm like, hold on, he did what? And then like oh yeah, my bad, it's a little too ahead. And I'm like, what did he just say? Like I have to now watch what's happening. And we get there, I'm like, Woes, like you're such a character, like to spoil these kind of things.
He's definitely an enigma within the story. While these characters are going through their journey and we learn more about them, Woz is just we don't know much about him, which kind of makes him a little creepy at first, because like he's just following this kid and we don't really know what he's planning or what he's doing. And then once we learn just little bits and pieces about him, like that kind of adds to the mystery, because there are more questions than answers to who he even is in the first place. And then once we get more into the story, once we follow the characters more, Woz is just, I don't know, maybe he's just the enigma of the whole thing, and people love him because of how weird and over the top he is. Like he knows the story, but he won't tell us because they don't want to spoil us, and that's cool. Be like Woz, don't spoil it.
He was great with Sogo, and his interaction with Gates also at the beginning especially. I love the Rejoice. I love a lot about Woz, his wonderful outfits, how he can like grab people. It didn't explain, like he just has a random cape he'll like pull out and be like, "Hey, we're gone now." Okay,
that's true. Like I don't know how he does that.
It just happened.
Yeah,
but he always made me smile whenever I saw him on screen.
It's funny. One of the things that Anthony always tells me whenever I ask him, "How does this happen?" or "How does this happen to Kamen Rider?" He just goes, "Kamen Rider." And I go, "You're right."
So, like y'all are saying, like Woz most definitely is an enigma. Like it's just so strange and so bizarre, but also so entertaining and lovable to watch. Every single time there's a new raid watch, he's there. Like you won't expect him to pop up. He's kind of like, just like I wouldn't be surprised if he buries himself underground, just waiting for. He's all right. He's gonna be here at this time. He's gonna get this watch. All right. So at this second, all right. Why? Let's go. All right. Made it. All right. I'm gonna go. Got to get ready for tomorrow's. Nothing's happening tomorrow. Bye. Like that kind of stuff. I like Woz a lot. So much so that actually I got a leopard gecko last year for my 5th anniversary with my girlfriend. We named him after Woz. So yeah. Love Woz a lot. Oh, and then the belt. I got to talk about the belt real quick. That jingle, I could play that on a loop all day. Let's.
Yeah.
Oh, like so good.
Open a club. That's the only song that plays all day.
Like everyone has said, Woz is great. I love how he's basically Sogo's hype man. Like he just comes out and he's like, "Oh, you villains messed up now. Look at him." And like to have that kind of hype, you know, I want can I get a personal Woz to like follow me around? He's entering your store to order a burger. I want that level of devotion.
Right?
I want that.
But he's a great character with a great backstory and this sort of mystery that surrounds him. Again, the belt is cool. His transformations are cool. He's fantastic.
He's so nice. We got him twice.
Hey! It's not really as black and white as that, but
and then, might need to get a little bit more red in there too. But that's
right.
It's fine.
And as a reminder, belt is available now.
And the best price I've ever seen it at. So
yes,
yeah,
it's a really good price.
Look at that, yeah. Just to remind you.
I love Woz. I love like medieval stuff, and he reminds me of like a medieval.
Oh no.
I kind of understand what he's saying. I'm filling in the blanks.
Chris's time stream is being disrupted.
Seriously, someone is sabotaging me. But no, I was just saying Woz is, I love him because he reminds me of like a court announcer from medieval courts. And anytime someone would walk into like the king's court, it'd be like, and now, presenting so-and-so, the blah, 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 blah. And that's what I love about, just one little thing I love about him. But yeah, I mean, as you guys have all said, he's a total enigma. You don't know if you like him or if he creeps you out. But by the time the series is over with, you realize that without him, it wouldn't have been Kamen Rider Zi-O.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it wouldn't have been
an integral part to the whole thing. Now, I said earlier in the live stream that Zi-O was actually my second rider of all time. Okay, but no, Zi-O was my second rider ever, and I used it as a way of shopping for which rider to go back and watch, and in which order. This is also how I found our Lord and Savior Gaim. what do you guys think about people coming to Zi-O early? Do you think they should wait until they've seen all of Heisei first and then go to Zi-O? Or, do you think that Zi-O might be okay for your first, second, or like third rider? Start with AJ.
I think the way how you turned out watching Kamen Rider, I think it's perfectly fine. We've discussed it before in the Decade stream that Decade is fine because it is a sampler platter for the previous ones, and I think this is perfectly fine too. That you may find something like or like a character that you like in Zi-O that you're like, all right, I think I'm gonna go to that series next, because it's definitely tough to look at 20 different Heisei characters and go, I don't know anything about you but your suit designs. But Zi-O is there to be like, have a little taste, and I think that's perfectly fine to start with.
So, how David Zi-O was your second writer? Decade was actually one of the first I ever watched, and I think that's an easy comparison in that they are pretty much like a sampler platter. You can see the past writers and learn more about them. You'll definitely get way more out of it if you've seen past writers, or even just a little bit. But there might be a few arcs in Zi-O where there's like they pretty much tell you the ending of the season. But I think what's important with Kamen Rider in general is that you just watch the journey of how they get to there. Like with Blade, they do talk about the ending, but when you watch Blade, it's the whole thing is the journey of how they got there, and that's what Zi-O does pretty well. In that you can watch it without having seen the writers, but if you have, then you're pretty much going to be rewarded for your dedication on watching these seasons.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of mirror that. Being able to go back and see different things. Me, like I haven't seen Forza, but I still really enjoyed and appreciated the episodes of it because it gave me a little taste of that show, and it makes me want to watch it even more. So if you just kind of do want a story, but you'll also find out a lot more about writers, it could be a great way to go. But I have to say something. This was in chat. It was hilarious. It says, if you can tell Kuga and Agito apart at first glance, you're ready to enjoy Zi-O.
I just saw that one.
Thanks, Alex. That was, yeah.
Awesome.
So Zi-O as a starter, I could totally see it just the same way as I was a starter with Decade. Like, because there are going to be some spoilery stuff in Zi-O. If you're new to it, you're not going to know that it's spoilery at all. So, like Marcus was saying, it's all about getting to the journey of it. And even then, these endings that they showed us in Zi-O are still a lot different than the ones we got in the previous Rider shows. So, like, I think Zi-O did a really good job of, like, riding that tightrope of, like, how can we show off the old Rider without telling them everything about the old Rider? And I think they did a great job with it. The other thing that's a lot of fun about Zi-O, too, is that it had a bunch of other side story stuff, like Kamen Rider Shinobi and the other Mi Rider stuff. Like, I loved the future Riders. I thought they were super cool. There's just so many little things in Zi-O that if it's your first one, it can be like a lot to take in. But if you like big bombastic love letter shows, like this is definitely one to check out. So yeah, I can totally see it as being somebody's first, but come back after you've seen the other ones, because if you watch it again after, you're going to catch so many more things and you're going to laugh way harder than you wanted to. Like all Sogo's misread catchphrases are the funniest things ever. Like they really are.
I love that, and I agree. I think that, as a first series, it's perfectly fine. You do get that taste of past series, and you can kind of pick and choose then, okay, I want to see this series, or, oh, I really like that character. Let me see what that series is about. But if you have seen at least a couple of series beforehand, you're going to be infinitely more rewarded, I think, because you'll be able to appreciate, like Dustin just said, the smaller references of like, oh, that's super funny how, Sogo botched the catchphrase, or when you see the character again and you're going to be like, oh, it's so-and-so from that series. Oh, it's so cool to see him again, 10 years down the line. Again, it just kind of depends on your personal taste. Are you the kind of person that wants to jump in, head first and just kind of experience it? Then absolutely go for it.
I feel like I need to give myself like a 10-second buffer before I start going into any kind of explanation. I'm just going to sit here and then say, yeah, I think a 10-second buffer works. Okay. Yeah.
Oh no!
Wow.
YouTube.com/.
Oh no!
Time jackers, stop them.
Seriously, I am a target right now. I am somebody's target. No, it's perfectly fine to be the first one. It's kind of like with Decade, right? It's a love letter this time for the whole Heisei, but you get a good focus on the last 20 years too, or last 10 years or what have you. But yeah, no, it's fine. It's like everyone has said, if you watch it after you've seen even a handful of the other series, you'll appreciate some of the jokes a little bit more. Things will mean a little bit more to you maybe, but not seeing them doesn't take away from the enjoyment of being able to watch Zi-O. And I think David is a prime example of someone who can see one series, go into Zi-O, love it, go see everything else in record time, I might add, and then still love Zi-O. And speak very highly of it and appreciate it even more than I think maybe he did when he first saw it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like as I watch more stuff, things that I saw in Zi-O are starting to click. I'm like, oh, that's why that was funny. Okay, I get it now.
Like even if you go back rewatching Zi-O after you watch another series, you're like, I see, that's pretty fun. And I don't know if you did that. Did you, David?
I go back and forth. When they, when you get to the Gaim episodes, I was like, this guy is weird. Is he in two places at once? And why is he right here at a certain part? I'm like, I don't think I like this. And I watch Gaim. I think I love this. This is amazing.
There you go. Prime example.
All praise for Jesus.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think Zi-O did like really. Another thing I thought Zi-O did really good was the 0.5 episodes. I know we brought him up earlier, but just the fact that we got those little tiny teases and like inside jokes and a little bit more behind the scenes stuff while keeping it tongue in cheek was really fun. And I really hope we get more stuff like that. I love those little mini like net movie kind of style shows that Toei does. So like, if somebody's out there and hearing me, more of those, please, please. I love them.
So one thing I want to show everybody is that if you go to the Nerdist channel on YouTube right now, the page for the Kamen Rider panel is live. As you can see, it will be going on in 3 hours. So you can just like open these tabs up and have them ready to go, so that there's no way you can possibly miss it. And of course, this page is also live as well. This will be going live in 4 hours. This is where you can watch it. You can hop in the live chat. It seems to be pretty lively already, as you can see down here. Yeah, people like there's 74 people waiting in this one and 34 people waiting in the other one. And it's hours, hours from even being close to starting. So I'm looking forward to see how many people actually show up when the big show starts.
What a great time to go in and just go chat with other Kamen Rider fans before the panel and the movie.
Yeah.
And to help out YouTube in the numbers, please make sure whenever you watch it, hit the like button and leave a comment. It really helps with YouTube.
Look at that.
And I've seen that in chat. Yeah, hit the like button, and it just helps the numbers. It helps YouTube know that it's doing well, which will just make them promote it in front of more people. And the more we can do to promote it, the better it's all going to be.
If we could get it trending tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Get it trending. Make sure all your friends know about this. Make sure they have the links. And hey, if you happen to be going to work and you can't watch it, that's fine. Put it on your computer and just have it run while you're out. That's fine.
There you go.
Turn the monitor off, and then just let it run. You're good.
Yeah.
Actually,
can
I say something about this, the movie real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I know a lot of people who are seeing this, since this is the first live broadcasted Rider movie in the States. This is going to be their first Rider movie. So this is one that's actually really special to a lot of people. So you might not know the characters, you might not know everybody's ins and outs, but the overall message and the feelings that were put into this movie shine. Really do shine. Yeah. And if you've never seen any Kamen Rider before and you want to feel our heat, you really want to understand why we're as passionate about this stuff as we are, Heisei Generations Forever is probably one of the best movies to express that.
And I gotta say, this was, if not the first, one of the first Rider movies I ever actually saw. And even without me knowing what I know now, like there are still parts of that movie that hit you right in the heart. Without you having to have watched everything.
Oh gosh, yes.
And if you have seen everything, prepare for your heart to explode. Get out your Rider tissues. I got mine laying around over there. It's a good one.
And just for people's reference, hopefully you see my mouse. See, this right here is Kuga. This is Akito. In case you had a hard time telling them apart.
When you first get started, it took me a while, just on first glance.
Right. I like that Ghost is in the far corner, like next to Yuki, but he's like behind everybody still.
Right, and then you have Guy here in his internal glory. Look at him.
They gave him a lot of like headspace above his head to shine. That's
of course.
The glow is actually from Gaim. The glow behind everybody, that's Gaim.
Yeah.
That is such a cool shot though. Like Bill kind of peeking over. You've got Deno right there, and then of course, I mean Kuga and Double kind of. It's like all of the end points. I'm kind of surprised like Decade wasn't, but I understand for the sake of the movie, like you'll understand.
Yeah. I just want to point out Drive standing over on the side, just like, yeah, that's right, I'm cool.
Right?
He does.
I got a car.
Wizard just looks sad in the back, like looking down, like I wish I could be Drive.
Right? He's like, I guess it's not showtime. Oh.
How do you guys know that? It might be more like nice, like oh hey, look, a penny. Like you know,
yeah, right.
He's wearing a mask, you can't tell.
Hey, I like Ghost, or I like Wizard, but yeah, he looks kind of like he's really sad.
But yeah, no, this movie is great. You don't need to have seen anything else to understand it, because you know I don't want to spoil it, but what this story is about is universal. You don't need to know Kamen Rider to find an attachment somewhere here. You know, if you've ever loved anything, this should matter to you.
Yeah, people or like just the story behind with the characters in it. At the end, when it all like you get the realization and everything comes together, I was just like, you might want some tissues ready. And the message of the writers at the end just chills thinking about it.
By the way, just so you guys know, while we've been watching this, the numbers of people waiting in the room have been going up,
increasing.
And don't forget, you can set a reminder right here so that there's no way you can possibly forget to be here at the start. Please don't miss it, guys. Please don't miss it. Don't make our hearts sad.
Make sure you catch the panel beforehand, though.
Yeah, that's
Make
right.
sure you watch the panel. Don't forget that.
Yeah, the panel was real fun. Shout out to Nerdist for hosting that and also hosting this whole event. It's really great to see a big outlet like them, wanting to give a stage to Kamen Rider.
A stage, you say?
Yeah, you got it.
It's our stage now. Hey.
But yeah, guys, let's definitely try and make Kamen Rider trending tonight. I appreciate everyone's help so far, especially everybody here on the stream. Thank you for being here basically all week, and I know it's not even, thank you for it, and thank you for everybody who's been watching the streams and everything. This has been a great week for Kamen Rider, and I couldn't have asked for a better event considering that the world ended. So
yeah. And like to the people that I have a friend who'll be at work later, and I told him, just play it at work. The consequences will come later. That's fine.
Never ask for permission. Only ask for forgiveness. That is a key in a lot of business ethics. Don't ask for it. Do it first and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry."
Right, oh no, I can't change the channel. The TV won't turn off. I'm sorry, guys. I guess we're stuck with it.
Right. No, exactly. So I'm looking forward to it, guys. And before we go, any last thoughts on Zi-O or Heisei Generations Forever? Before we go,
I'm just excited because we got a whole new generation of Rider fans starting today. I'm pretty darn.
Yeah.
This is going to be the start of something big. I'm just so excited for the future. And maybe you're talking about make sure we get it trending tonight. Maybe all of us can put our collective minds together and decide what is the hashtag we want to make sure we all really blow out. Because I know we're all going to be using Team Kamen Rider, Heisei Week and stuff like that. But we should do what we can. Everybody's got to love Rider.
How about just hashtag Kamen Rider?
Yeah. Hashtag Kamen Rider.
Let's do it. Let's start tweeting it. I mean, as soon as
simple.
You can start right now. Just start tweeting about your favorite show, your favorite series, your favorite character.
I'm trying to get some my collection.
All right. And hey, for people who are watching tonight, not just you guys who have your own channels, but anyone out there, record your reaction to seeing the message and to seeing the movie.
That'd be good.
Okay.
And put it out there. I want to see, how the fan base, how you guys are reacting, and more importantly, Bandai and Toei want to see how you're reacting. So, like, if you cry real easy, I want you to put that camera on.
That's me.
That's
me. I mean,
the strength of this fandom will make me cry.
Exactly. Oh.
I got my Kintaro tissue ready, so
I should get my kids involved somehow.
Yeah,
yeah. We'll use the kids. You always get clicks and stuff for kids.
If they start jumping up and down and clapping, they'll start jumping up and down clapping too.
Right. So now, to be clear, record your reaction. Do not record the movie. I cannot stress that enough.
Don't do that. That's bad idea.
The most important thing I can tell you out of all these, do not record the movie. And don't worry, guys, it will be available for streaming later this summer. You will be able to watch it later on this summer, much as you want. You do not need to record it.
That has been announced. Toku Shoutsu has said by August 1st.
You'll be able to watch
the
it
movie
on demand.
On August 1st, by August 1st, it will be available to watch on demand on all the streaming platforms, and that includes Amazon, as it was stated. So, since everyone's an Amazon Prime member, so
or
Ohma Zi-O is going to come after people.
Yes,
but like he did me.
He'll start with me. He'll start with me. I'll evaporate. I'll be like, no.
We'll leave like a text to David. David?
This number is no longer in service.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get like a selfie from Ohma Zi-O, and I'm like, what was that?
but yeah, guys, record your reactions. Share the hashtag Kamen Rider. Let everyone know about this. If we can get this trending, you cannot imagine how influential that will be for a lot of things going forward. Not just for Kamen Rider, but Tokusatsu as a whole will benefit from what happens today. So definitely, please come out and show your support. And thank you for coming along for this ride thus far, and hopefully forever after this. Oh man. Well, until a few hours from now, we'll see you at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the panel, and at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the movie.
Live tweet the movie, hashtag Kamen Rider.
Do it. Get it out there, guys. And don't forget, we have the sales going on until tomorrow. So definitely, get your purchases in there. I know payday was yesterday. All right.
Yeah.
And but that's it, guys. This has been the Zi-O Hype Stream. The next stream you see is the real deal. So
yes,
we'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.